Hey y'all, I'm Mandy, and this is the Eye Behind the Empire, where we talk about what's really going on behind your business. I'm a fractional COO and tech strategist who believes freedom starts with clarity, and if your back end's a mess, you'll feel it everywhere. Because what you can't see might be what's holding you back. Let's fix that.
Most founders don't realize they're recreating the same corporate environment they worked so hard to leave. Welcome back to the Eye Behind the Empire. I'm your host, Mandy. Let's get into it. Many of us left corporate jobs for a reason. I know I did. I wanted more control over my trajectory in life. I knew that I could not see myself staying in the corporate world long term because it didn't offer what I wanted. And I'm also too sassy and can't just stay in my cubicle and only do my job. I love learning. And so that's how I have amassed the knowledge that I have and why I'm so damn good at my job, or at my at my business Illumina Ops Solutions now. So, but I mean, there are other people tired of the bureaucracy, the slow decisions, the endless meetings. Oh my God, the meetings for the meetings, absolute nonsense. So then we start our own business and accidentally recreate the same environment without realizing it. Small businesses do not need to operate like Fortune 500 companies, folks. Like it doesn't need to happen. But unfortunately, most founders only know two models: corporate structure, chaos. So they assume structure must look like corporate. But the structure and bureaucracy are not the same thing. Sometimes people recreate corporate habits because they think it looks more legitimate. And this is something that I've personally, over the years, have come to realize. Because, I mean, when you come out of corporate, I mean, especially when you were there for, a couple decades, you have corporate habits that you have to break. And as you start doing more personal development and going through, different things and growing your business, you start to see these things come out and you're like, no thanks. But you also have to make sure that in your business development, not just your personal development, but in your business development, that you're watching for those corporate habits as well. And I started noticing those within myself. And then it's one of those things. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so I started noticing in my clients, when they're building things that are modeling corporate behavior, which I'm not saying that all corporate structure or behaviors or, whatever is bad. I'm just saying that in your small business, in your small growing business, it does not have to look like some Fortune 500 company. And so here's some examples of some corporate habits that don't belong in small business or in small businesses. Unnecessary approval chains, needing multiple people to sign off on small decisions. I've had this happen, worked for a client for years, and it was like I had to talk to like three different people. And I'm like, my God, we're not curing cancer here. We're building an automation, folks. Like it's just unnecessary. Too many meetings. So meetings that could have been a Slack message. My God, if it could be a Slack message, please, by all means, do that. If it can be an email, please do that. If I feel that I need further conversation, I will let you know. And I feel like I've gotten very good with my clients. Like they know, like I'm a very intelligent person. You can send something to me in email and I'm probably can figure it out. Or, I'll send you a voice note or something. But we don't have to have a meeting for every single thing. And I've also worked with clients that literally wanted to have a meeting almost every single day. That's not going to happen, folks. Like, you do not need to have meetings every single day to get going. Like, that's very corporate, very corporate habits. Even corporate jargon. So this was hard to not let go, but realize that I was doing and work it out of my language. So saying things like circle back or touch base or run it up the flagpole. Like, that's so corporate, so corporate. And then process for the sake of process. Y'all know I love me some processes, okay? I think they're very important. But complicated workflows that slow everything down, why? I mean, small teams do not need this level of friction. And so the hidden cost of corporate thinking and why it actually hurts small businesses. I mean, if you think about it, corporate structures exist because there are literally thousands of employees, multiple departments, high regulatory exposure, huge scale, small. You're not at that level right now. Small businesses need speed, clarity, adaptability. That's it. Because overcomplication slows down your growth. I'm not saying be out here like wild, wild west and not have shit set up, but have set up what you need. Just because some big corporate conglomerate that you used to work for had all of these different things in place, that you're not at that same level. So what works, and I've said this before, what works for one business is not necessarily going to work for another. And so, I mean, definitely keep that in mind. And so there's actually a real advantage that small businesses have. Small businesses can make decisions quickly, adapt faster than large organizations. And y'all know, if you have worked in corporate trying to get something approved, it's got to go through the marketing channels and it's got to go through, all these different departments to write off. You are not there. I know that you maybe want to get there one day. That's great. And then at that time is when you would have all these other pieces set up. But you can just go. You can build systems that actually make sense and operate in a more human way. That flexibility is a competitive advantage, not a weakness. Competitive advantage. Keep that in mind. So, I mentioned earlier, there's a difference between structure and bureaucracy. And I mean, I think that's a really important distinction that we need to talk about. Structure is clarity, ownership, simple systems, repeatable processes. Bureaucracy, layers of approval, like we just talked about, unnecessary complexity, slow decision making, processes that exist just because they always have. Structure supports speed. Bureaucracy slows it down. And when you think of it from that light, you cannot help but reflect on your corporate days where you're like trying to get something done and people are just like, well, this is just all the way it's always been. And you're like, what? Why are we doing it this way? Like, I can clearly see a much quicker path. And you're sitting there going, oh, dear God. And that's when you're sitting there telling yourself, if I had my own business, I would do things differently. If I had my own business, I wouldn't have to have all these different layers of approval or, things in my way of getting things done. And eventually you have enough of those conversations with yourself that you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm building my own thing. So then you're out here building your own thing and you're mirroring what you just came from. The very thing that drove you crazy. Keep that in mind. So what do good operations actually look like in small businesses? So, good operational design should reduce friction, clarify ownership. None of these should be like groundbreaking things to you because I've talked about them. Reduce the friction, clarify ownership, simplify communication, and allow faster decisions. Systems should make the business lighter, not heavier. Always lighter, not heavier. And so some questions that I think you can ask yourself, a good practical lens, if you will, um, before adding any new process or system, ask yourself, does this make the business easier to run or just more complicated? If the process exists only to feel official, it probably doesn't belong. I mean, think about it. So, I mean, just going back to, you didn't leave corporate to rebuild that same environment in a smaller office. You didn't. Think of all the reasons that you left corporate. Think of all the times you sat there and you were like, "Dear God, why am I meeting with Mark for the 15th time this week to go over the same thing that we've already talked about? Why?" Or why am I waiting on Janet to approve something that could have just already been done, yet here we are? Oh, wait, because, this is just how it's always been done. Corporates are great. Obviously, they're succeeding. But when you've worked there, that things get bogged down and it's harder to make changes. And so at your level, I mean, you're running things. And what I've really been embracing lately is, the corporate structure, we see it. We can see that obviously, it works because these businesses are growing and they're big, but who's to say that the way that I'm doing it isn't going to work too? I've been in business over 6 years and I'm doing great. And I ain't doing corporate shit. So, if you think about it in that way, it's like, we think that corporate is the corporate way is the only way because that's the model that we have. But then you sit here and go, but anything's really possible. It really is. And who's to say that the way that I'm about to run shit isn't going to be even better? In that, you get to kind of sit back and go, this is truly my decision on how I want to run things. I don't have to model it after anybody. I have to do what feels right for me, for my business, what makes the most sense, and then go from there. Think about it. My words of wisdom. So back to, you didn't leave corporate to rebuild the same environment in a smaller office. Like I just said, your business gets to be structured, professional, organized, without being rigid, bureaucratic, or slow. The goal isn't corporate polish. The goal is clarity and momentum. And you can create that all day long for yourself. You don't need all of that other stuff. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss future conversations about operations, leadership, and building a business that actually works behind the scenes. And if you know a founder who left corporate only to accidentally rebuild it inside their business, send this episode their way. They'll appreciate it. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to The Eye Behind the Empire. If today's episode helped you see your business more clearly, be sure to follow the show and share it with another CEO who needs it. And if you're ready to turn your hidden brilliance into operational freedom, visit illuminaops.com to learn how we can make it happen. Until next time, keep your focus clear and your empire aligned.